Hey guys, it's your girl London, and today we're here for another Resurrection Shadowday. So if you guys want to see which palette we're resurrecting this Saturday, then stick around because we're getting right into it. Guys, Urban Decay is releasing this Wild Greens palette, and I've seen one or two reviews on it, and although the looks came out really nice, the palette itself to me just felt slightly meh. Like they could have done a better cover. They could have done better colors. It could have had more green, more punch, more depth than what it did. It seems like a very slight toe stepping into the greens, which when I really think about it, that's what kind of held me up there, was when I was thinking about the Naked palettes. They really are subdued colors of what they were. Subdued nudes, subdued roses, even the smoky, subdued smoky. It kind of, then the green palette kind of seems like it's almost a Naked palette that they packaged in a different packaging to get people to accept it because people are so tired of the Naked palettes. Now that I think about it, maybe that's why it has the color story that it has, because really it's a Naked palette that they just tried to bamboozle people into thinking was a Naked palette because they gave it a different packaging, which really reminds me of the, I think it was the Basquiat collection that they had done many years ago. It kind of to me is reminiscent of that. And that worked for a collection, but I don't think it works for Urban Decay as a brand. So now this is making sense to me. They just tried to bamboozle folks with a different package for the freaking green Naked palette. That's what they did. Okay, now it makes sense to me. Still don't like the palette. Still don't like the packaging. Still, I'm not going to buy it. So if you're wondering why I'm even talking about that, it's because I'm segueing into the palette that we are resurrecting this Saturday. And we are resurrecting the Naked Reloaded. I love this palette. I love that this was the Naked palette that had the cushioning on it. I believe that this palette came out after they said they were really gonna, I think they were discontinuing the original Naked or the Smoky or something like that, but this one has a soft, pillowy packaging. It's not in that tin, it's not in, you know, all cardboard. The back is cardboard, but the front is this very kind of pillowy texture. I loved the flower that they had on it, and I love the gold lettering that they had on it that you could feel. I just thought that this was a really nice kind of new step in direction for Urban Decay, and I was hoping that they would stay on this. Of course, I think Urban Decay is having a crisis existential because they don't really know who they are anymore, and I think that that is making it difficult for them to kind of stay streamlined as a brand, honestly. So this one came out in 2019, so she is just 3 years old, and this is what she looks like. She has a large mirror like the other palettes do, and then this, I like because you can bend it back, this is the palette itself. I like that it stayed traditional to the Naked palettes. Now the Naked palettes, I do have some of them. They're not like my favorite. I think for the time, they were really great palettes because that's when palettes were really just having their introduction, especially these long kind of quote unquote bigger palettes were really having their introduction, and they were catering to a population that really had only used kind of nakedy nude kind of tones, and then maybe you would get like a Maybelline, Revlon, or CoverGirl kind of single shadow, MAC single shadow that was a bright color. But really, I think most people were wearing kind of nude tones because that's just where the industry had been at and was at, unless you had a pop of blue or pop of green. This reminded me of Urban Decay trying to stay with that because you have to know where your bread and butter is. I think that, much like things like Tarte, that really is their bread and butter, is kind of that natural nude kind of population of people that want that, and that's okay. But I felt like this was them stepping a little bit out of the box to give us some pinks that seemed a little more pigmented, some deeper browns, giving us some shimmers that seemed a little bit more pigmented, a little bit more full of life than the Naked palettes had given us. So I really liked this palette a lot, and I used it a lot. So today, this is the palette we're going to do our look with. So let's get into the look. Let's go ahead and we are going to start off with doing our whole lid. So this is the Wayne Goss number 17 brush. It looks like a painting brush, and that's exactly what we're going to do with our eyes. Don't mind my hair. She sometimes does her own thing, so I'm going to try to keep her a little bit out of the face, but also I don't want to like touch her and make her get all frizzy and be temperamental on me. So as you guys know, I'm going to try to put the palette somewhere around here. Again, she's a little big, so we're going to put it somewhere around here for you guys to see. And we're going to start off with the color Bucked, and this is just kind of your standard brown color that they have, just that kind of all over shadow color. The one thing that I dislike about the Naked palettes is I dislike the fact that the shades are in the thin rectangles. And I know a lot of different brands do that. You have Charlotte Tilbury does that. Other brands do that frequently. And it's not that I hate it aesthetically, but like a brush like this, it makes it slightly hard for a brush like this to really be able to get in there and do what it needs to do, because it's not a round palette or even a square palette. It's this long rectangular palette. Like I said, this came out in 2019, so that wasn't that long ago actually, but it does meet our cutoff of having to be older than 2 years. But I thought that this would be a nice palette to play around with, considering Urban Decay did just finally release a new palette that people are really kind of excited for, because it's not the ultraviolet, it's not the, what was that, cyber palette, which I have. It is something with a little more punch, a little more color. I think everybody can agree it probably should have had more punchy greens in it, but for what they've been putting out, it's a little more punchy. Like I said, Urban Decay really is known now for their subdued colors. I think that most people know Urban Decay back when they were just doing single shadows, they were really known for punchy colors. Like they had punchy colors. They were really that brand that if you wanted to kind of do a look that was different, do a look that had some colors that were really going to razzle and dazzle, it was Urban Decay. I feel like once they went from the single shadows to the actual palettes, I feel like they got a little wonky because I tried to do the singles in the palettes, and I think that the color stories weren't cohesive. It didn't really work because you just had all these colors and you had nothing to ground it. And then I think they went right into Naked, and that was their sweet spot, and that's kind of where Urban Decay went to die, was in the Naked realm. And I think that some people are done with the Naked line, but I think they can keep the Naked line going. They just have to kind of make it new, make it fresh, you know what I mean, reinvent what it means to be naked, and I think they'll be okay. And that's why I thought that this palette was kind of reinventing what it means to be naked. And then they kind of just faltered still a little bit, because you can tell they want to be them old selves again, but they also, you know, you have got to make money. There has to be production, and people have to be buying your products, so they stick with their bread and butter. Like I said, I think they're going through an existential crisis, and I hope it's over soon, because I think that they really, really, really can go back to being the brand that they were, the brand that people went to for the new, the cool, the hip. And right now they're kind of like, you know, they're kind of like the person who's really just lost their way. Now we're going to go in with the color Boundaries, and this is still in the brown realm, but it's more of a peachy brown, and this is slightly powdery, not as powdery as ABH, but it does have some powder cook up. So like I said, I really, really, really enjoyed this palette a lot, and I used it frequently because I thought it was just nudes, naturals done right. It wasn't so dusty, rusty, kind of see-through shadows. They really had, you know, enough pigment to give you something to talk about, but you also could, quote-unquote, wear it to work and feel like you had done something, but that it was also still acceptable. You know what I mean? So, alright, now we're going to go in with the color Distilled. Now Distilled is a satin, and we're gonna go in with it. And I know it seems like, oh my gosh, why are we going in with that? But we're gonna do a little Charlotte Tilbury, a little Natasha Denona, and we're gonna make the jump in, and we're gonna put a satin, I know, in our crease. I know that the makeup world has told us that for many, many moons, that satins, shimmers, things like that don't belong in your crease. And then here come Natasha and Charlotte saying, ma'am. Oh, and let me not forget, Mama Pat says, ma'am, they can go anywhere you want them to go. So we're going to take Distilled, and we're going to put Distilled in our crease, because I want to deepen it up a bit. And we don't have any other matte that is deep, except for Endgame. I think we're going to put that in our our outer corner. So I just want to liven this up with Distilled. I like putting a satin or a metallic shimmer in my crease, because I feel like it gives it a little pizzazz. It can kind of allow the light to get there, especially because I have hooded eyes. It becomes slightly difficult to see the colors on my eyes unless I allow my crease to be higher. I create like a faux crease, and that's why my shadows go above the natural crease line. So I think if you put a satin there, it helps the light kind of grab hold of it, and I think brings attention to the eye look, where it might not, because, you know, your crease really does eat shadows when you have hooded eyes. And I know it's only going to get worse as I age, so, you know. If you guys hear any noises outside right now, we had a snowstorm last night. So we have about 10 inches of snow outside, and I think people are just now getting ready to start using their snow machines and snow blowers and such to get the snow clearly off their sidewalks and things like that. So we had a really, really big snowstorm. I think New York got like 2 feet. So I was like, whoa. We're not too far from New York, but I mean, in retrospect, we're in Jersey. We're in South Jersey. So considering state to state, we're not too far from New York. And even driving, it only takes an hour and 30 minutes to get into the city. But they got like 2 feet of snow, and North Jersey got a lot of snow. I mean, we still got a lot, 10 inches, but South Jersey really doesn't get that kind of snow the way North Jersey and stuff does. So now we're going to go into our outer V, and I think we're going to put a little retro, and retro is this pink color. It is basically the pop of color in this palette. I don't know if you can see it on my brush. It is this pinky color. We're going to go into our outer crease with this and into kind of like the outer third of the lid, because we are going to darken this up with a darker color, but I just want to put this on and give it just a little bit of color here. Usually I will put this color in my lid when I'm going for a kind of pinky nude look. I would do this. I think this is a perfect palette for somebody who, if you want to do like a Valentine's Day look, or you want to do pinks but you're not really wanting to get an entirely pink palette because you're just entering pinks, I think this is good because it is a nice neutral palette. It can be smoky, you can do light neutral, and then it has this pink that you can kind of just do a pop with, either in the corner, in the crease. You can put it on your lid. It's matte if you want an all matte look. You really can pack it on, and it's a nice color to diffuse. Now this is still being sold. Before I got on, I looked, and it is being sold at Ulta for 44 bucks. I didn't look anywhere else, but typically if it's being sold at Ulta, it is still being sold at least on the Urban Decay website, and then possibly at a Sephora, but definitely it's still being sold at Ulta. I know people tend to like Ulta better anyway, so if you are looking to get into it, you can still go there and get it. So that is what we have right there. And then since we're here, I'm going to go ahead and get our Jaclyn Hill JH43. Again, this is kind of like a paintbrush, and we're going to go into retro. We're going to go along the lower lash line with that, as close as we can without getting it into our eyes. So we're kind of, almost kind of packing it on down here, which is why I go into it so frequently. And then go back, because we want to kind of pack it on a bit down here. And then we're going to blend it out with another color, but we want to make sure this has its time to shine and stick around. So this palette, like I said, is still currently being sold for 44 bucks at Ulta. I got mine when it first came out, so I think this palette might have a 24-month shelf life on it. I'll check on the back and I'll see. So we should be right at the end of the shelf life, where we are a year or two out, depending upon if it's 12 or 24 months. Let me check. So it is 24 months. So this would have just quote-unquote expired about 12 months ago. So I think it's still working the same way I remember it. Again, these are just kind of, they're more saturated than the other Naked palettes, in my opinion, but they still are kind of traditional Urban Decay, you know, lighter saturation color. Saturated for them and where they are now, but in the kind of Naked world, but still less saturation than if you got like a Natasha Denona palette. So in order to blend that out, we are going to go in with Boundaries, which we used earlier, and we're going to take this pencil brush to number 20 from Wing Gloss, and we are going to just go slightly underneath that pink and buff this out. And like I said, this is like a peachy brown, and we're going to use a brush to buff these two colors together. We're just taking it right underneath the pink, so not as close to the lash line as we did the pink, just right under it, but not too low, because we don't want it to buff out too much. And so now we are going to take this Lunar Beauty LBE number 3 brush, and we're going to just, no product, we're going to go in and just buff that out. I love doing the lower lash line because I used to never do it, but I think it just brings a little bit of life to the look, and you can use whatever colors you want to. You can use them from the palette you're using, you can use them from another palette. It like really allows you to play with the colors as much as you want. So now let's go ahead and we're going to do a shimmer, and then we're going to go in with the rest of our outer corner. So for the shimmers, we do have quite a few to pick from, and I think that what we're going to go with is Reputation. Reputation is, it's kind of like a rosy metallic almost. It's right next to Retro, which is the pink that we use. So it's kind of like a rosy metallic. And like I said, I do go into the crease because I do have hooded eyes, so I like to take my shimmers, whatever I'm putting on my main lid, I like to put them up here because it is naturally going to migrate there over the day. And so rather than it be kind of patchy and haphazard looking, I like to do it myself and kind of take it up there. Do the same thing on the other side. I do tend to use my fingers for the majority of the lid because then I'm going to take a brush and I'm going to go in kind of to this part right here where my fingers can't really get, and I'll go in there. But I enjoy using my fingers to really get the color on. Now that was not always the case. I used to spray my brush and I would only do it that way. I refused to use my fingers. I didn't think you should have to. And then I noticed that I really didn't like using my brush because one, sometimes it would give it hard pan, and two, sometimes what would happen is that it would go on my lid like too foiled, like tin foil, like actually crunching up tin foil. We're just using this Colourpop E29 to go ahead and put more of Reputation right here in the corner where my fingers couldn't get. And so I didn't like that. So then I started using my fingers to put the shimmers and metallics and stuff on. But you can use it any way you want to. Alright, so now that we have that, we're going to go ahead and we're going to use our JH30, which if you guys know, you know this is my favorite blending brush. And we're going to come here and just blend it. We're just trying to blend the edges, make them a little softer, but not make them go away necessarily. Just, there we go. Now we're going to go in and we are going to take the Lunar Beauty LBE 6, and this is what we're going to put Endgame on with. So Endgame is the deepest brown in this palette, and this is what we're going to use for the outer portion of the corner of our eye. Just drag it just a little bit in because we don't want to cover up Retro, which is that pink. We just want to be able to add a little bit of a deep dimension to the outer corner and just ground our look with it and take it just slightly up into the eyeshadow, kind of on a curve, like a straight slingshot curve is kind of what we're doing at the top there. And leave it just like that, and then we're going to take the Wayne Gloss number 6 brush because it's a little bit of a flat shader, and we're just going to buff the edge. Now see how easy that is to buff right there? That's what I do like about the Urban Decay Naked palettes, is that I feel like regardless if you like the color story, regardless if you like the saturation, the pigmentation, they really are nice to blend. I feel like Urban Decay, that is one thing that they have, is that they tend to have shadows that are nice to blend, and that's what I like about them the most, is that can almost guarantee that consistency, that you're going to be able to blend the shadows when you get them. And I think that is something to say with shadows these days. Okay, because we don't want to blend that away, we just want to lightly buff it in. So that's kind of what we have going on right there. Alright, so we have the look pretty much completed. We're going to go in with I'm going to go in with this Lunar Beauty brush. This is LBE4, and we're going to take the color Blur. And Blur is kind of what people would used to call a quote-unquote nude peach kind of brow bone highlighter shade. And I'm going to highlight my brow bone with it. Like when you thought about a brow bone shade that people were talking about, it was typically this kind of really light, peachy color. I'm just going to do a little bit of this just to brighten and lighten the brow bone area just a bit. Very nice. Oh, can you guys believe the winter is almost over? Oh, I just can't. I can't. I feel like I didn't get enough winter. This is the first major snowstorm we've had, and I'm just like totally bummed about it. I want more. Now we're going to go to the Jaclyn Hill JH39 brush, and we're going to pick our inner corner color. And I think for that we are going to use Angel Fire, and that is on the left side of Retro, and Reputation, which we used for our lid, was on the right side. So they're kind of hues of each other as far as them being kind of pink based. But again, this is a good palette to step into pinks because they're pink based, but they're not going to give you, like if you watched my my Colourpop, their Valentine Day video, which I will leave that somewhere up here, or you can look in my video library. That is very, very pink, and some people may not want that kind of heavy hitting pink, and if you don't, I think that this is a nice palette to kind of step into pink but not have to fall into it. Some people aren't ready to fall into it. They don't want to jump all into pink. They just want to step into it, say hello, how you doing, get to know it, but they don't necessarily want to just marry it right away, and I get that. And this is a really, really nice inner corner color. So there we have it. So guys, this is our look so far. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do my lashes, my liner, come back, and then we're going to talk about the palette, talk about the look, see what we think. So 2 shakes and I'll be right back. We are back, guys. We are done. We have completed the look. So let's talk about it. For mascara, we use the Charlotte Tilbury Pillow Talk Push-Up Lashes. This is the first time I used it, and I actually think it did a really nice job, especially because I couldn't find my eyelash curler. I think it did a really nice job to curl my lashes, so that was cool. The next thing we have is a tried and true Patrick Ta liner in Rich Brown. I use that for the lower and the upper. If you do not have this liner, get it. This is amazing. I feel like I'm ready to go through it. I think I bought a back of it, but I'm not sure. I hope I did because I absolutely, absolutely love it so much. And that was it. It was just simple, easy breezy, beautiful CoverGirl. So guys, let me come a little closer so you can see. This is the look. How do you guys like it? It's so weird moving my head like this. So I think that it looks really, really nice. I think this is a nice kind of, like I said, simple, kind of nudie into pink look. I think that you could wear this out. You could wear this to work. You could wear this to shovel the snow in. I just think that overall it's just a nice look. And I think for somebody who enjoys color, this is going to be a little bit too simple for you. This is not for you. This is not the palette for you. But I think for somebody who loves to have a very kind of naturally nudie look, but is just looking for a little more saturation, a little more pop, this could be it. This could be that thing that just takes you a little bit outside of your comfort zone, but you're not like just jumping in there. Again, just jumping into the pool wanting to marry color. This keeps you kind of subdued and comfortable, but gives you a little look with a little bit of pizzazz. So I think that this looks like, just a little bit of pizzazz. What is that on there? But you're not like blinded by metallic or blinded by lashes or things like that. So I enjoyed this look. So this is another win for Resurrection Shadowday. So I'm so excited about that. This has, let's count together, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 shadows in it. And of the shadows, we use 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, I'm sorry, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we use 8 of the 12 shadows. You guys know that with shadows, I like to be at least able to use half the palette in order for it to feel like it was worth it to me. So this has 12 shades. We use 8 of them. We are in there like swimwear with 50%. So in that case, that makes it to me worth it. Now, of course, I also love the color story. I love a neutral moment. I love color. I'm also a basic miach, right? So I love this palette. I think this is a go-to palette. This is a vacation palette where you're not quite sure what you want to bring, I think this will give you a similar look. Most of the times you probably can get 2 or 3 varying looks out of this, but they're going to be nice looks. They're going to be simple. They're going to be easy breezy. They're going to be things that give you a little bit of pop, but they're not too intricate and you can just go. You probably could do a one shadow look and go with this. So I think this is something you don't have to think about. You just put it on and the look will come together, and that's what I really like about it. As you see, it blended out beautifully. So guys, I think that this is a winner chicken dinner. So let me know how you feel about the Urban Decay Reloaded palette and this cushiony kind of cover that they did on it. Let me know how you feel about the new Urban Decay palette, the wild greens that came out. Like I said, it's not my vibe, it's not my thing. I prefer the Gemini palette from Melt, which of course they took that away. I really wish that they would stop having these kind of limited edition palettes. I wish I would just keep them on as the core line, because that is the best palette to me I think Melt has ever released. And it's a gorgeous green palette. If you could still find it on a third-party site, that is a gorgeous green palette that I think if you're looking for greens, that's your greens. It still has your neutrals on the other side. The Urban Decay one is just, like I said, it's not my vibe. It's not my thing. I think they're going through an existential crisis. I can't be a part of encouraging that. I need them to just find themselves and then come back to us when they're ready. So guys, if you enjoyed this video, give me 2 very enthusiastic thumbs up, not 1 but 2. Also hit the subscribe button and notification bell so you can be notified of all my new videos and you don't miss a single one. If you're not following me on Instagram, you should head on over there at London Brielle, see what I'm doing when I'm not here with you on the YouTubes. If you're on TikTok, I'm there, but I'm kind of ghosting it right now because I'm trying to figure out what to do. You can follow me on TikTok. It's official_London Brielle there also. So guys, I appreciate you spending your time with me. If you got some snow today, let me know what your snowstorm was like. Like I said, we got about 10 inches here, but I think New York got like 2 feet. So let me know if you're anywhere in this area, what the snow looked like in your town. Till next time guys, I love you, I will miss you, and I will see you on the flip side. I love you guys. Bye.